What's up YouTube, my name's Ravlar and welcome back to another episode of RuneScape 3 Tips and Tricks. As always in this series I look long and hard to find the best tips and tricks to make your RuneScape life a lot easier. The series link is going to be on the top right and I highly recommend you check out all the episodes. We have some golden nuggets of information in there which will really help you guys out. Now before we get started, let's check out last month's Bond giveaway. I asked you guys, what is the luckiest you have ever been in RuneScape? And you guys showed me so much love in the comments by telling me your stories, and honestly I'm so grateful for all the time you put into that. I read them all of course, but even though all of you guys are some lucky motherfuckers, we have one standout, and that is Triple Dylan, who managed to get himself 2 ice dyes in a single casket. What the hell dude, that's madness. I will make sure I get that bond to you Dylan, even though you clearly don't need it. Anyway, this episode's bond giveaway is the following question. If you could change one thing about RuneScape 3, what would it be and why? Now I asked this specifically because I'm going to be doing quite a big video on what I would change about the game, and I would love to hear what you guys think. But anyway boys and girls, put your cowboy hats on, let's get on with today's video. This month's first tip is a pretty damn useful one for all those guys who like to slay a lot. Now normally if you want to area loot something, you'd probably drop something on the floor and click it to open up the area loot interface. But a somewhat recent update has been added to make this a lot easier. Now if you go to your drop log, you'll see that you have a list of items which you have recently received. Now at the bottom of this you'll see the settings cog, and next to it you'll see this button. Now if you click this, you'll open up the area loot, and it's a lot easier than dropping something and clicking on it to open it up. So no matter what you're doing, if there's something on the floor, it will open up the area loot system, and you can collect your items a lot easier when slaying. Next up, here's something which I use on a daily basis. Now every time you access the bank, there's often things you need almost all the time. Now I'm talking about things which get used almost constantly, like logs for bonfiring, dummies for getting adrenaline, and nihil pouches for when you're going into combat. Now one thing which I do is I have a bank preset in which I put all the things I use on a regular basis. Now this is very useful and you can tailor it to suit your own needs, but what I particularly have in mind is I have the logs for bonfiring, I have a Slayer cape to teleport to convenient locations, I have my Wicked Hood and my runecrafting cape so I can get my daily Viswax, I'm wearing full ceremonial so whenever I go to Nex I don't have to change my gear, I'm wearing my Grace of the Elves so I can quick teleport to the Invention Guild, I have quick access to my Captain's Log to access ports, I have use of my Grim Gem to get a new Slayer assignment, and lots more. Now this is really useful and I use it constantly and it's saved me so much time, so hopefully you can use this concept and adapt it for yourself. This next tip is short and sweet but very useful if you want to go for some specific distractions and diversions. Now if you have multiple daily tokens, you can combine the daily tokens to make either a weekly or a monthly token, or if you have weekly tokens you can combine them to make monthly tokens. Unfortunately you can't split down monthly tokens into daily or weekly tokens down into daily tokens. But this is pretty useful, for example, if you don't have a monthly token but you have loads of daily tokens and you're dying to do an oyster. So go ahead and use this if it helps you out. Next up, I have a pretty fantastic tip out there for all you guys who like to do player-owned farms. Now normally feeding your animals is annoying and tedious, but there is a way to avoid this completely if you're going only for adolescent animals to sell for beans, and that is to get the 2 traits together, Jovial plus Immune. Now if you have the Jovial trait, what this means is that your animal will always be happy, and if you have the Immune trait, this means that your animal will never ever get diseased. So put this on your male and female breeding pair, and this means that they will never ever get ill or hungry, so you don't have to feed them and you don't have to check their health. Now to get this, it is quite annoying, but what you need to do is go to Granny and buy a bunch of trait rerollers and use them on your breeding pair until you get both Joyful and Immune on both of them. Now it is a bit of a tedious process, but on my Iron Man this is a lifesaver. It saved me so many mushrooms, etc. So I highly recommend doing this. Now I normally never do this, but I came across a resource which absolutely blew my mind with how detailed and how useful it was, and that is the PVM Encyclopedia Discord group. Now I'll leave a link in the description. Don't feel any pressure to join it. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but I use it on a daily basis. The amount of information in there is mind-blowing. For every single boss there is an in-depth explanation about all the mechanics, video guides, and specific rotations on how to tackle them. Now if you're just learning, there's also massive amounts of information on DPS rotations. They also have clear, in-depth PVM tips and tricks, a community which you can reach out to get any questions answered, and also they update this on a regular basis. And a huge shout out needs to go to MoH, who has spent months and months collating the best information by reaching out to the best PVMers to make this possible. So thank you very much, MoH. And honestly, I have no affiliation with them, but this is an amazing resource and it really will help you get a lot better at PVM. So please do use it. The link is in the description. Next up, I have a very exciting tip for you guys who like to spend a lot of time in the wilderness. Now, there's a few things you can do to survive if you're being attacked by a PKer. One of them is obviously use a shield to reflect and debilitate your opponent to reduce the damage taken. Now if you have been teleblocked, something you can do is build up to 100% and use Immortality. Now if you die with the Immortality, not only are you brought back to life, but the teleblock also clears and you are free to teleport away. So this is pretty damn awesome. If you're paying attention, this will always save you. So use it well, guys. Next up, more of a PSA than a tip, but basically in the month of May there is a massive aura sale going on, which results in most of the useful auras having 50% off. So if you've been hoarding points waiting for a good time to use them up, this is definitely the time to do it. Now a lot of my viewers will probably have a golden or silver Premier Club membership. Now if you do, you get access to these Premier tokens, and what a lot of people don't know is that these can actually be used to unlock legendary pets, which are actually very expensive if you buy them with rune coins. Now all you need to do is click on the coin to redeem it and select pet, but just make sure that the pet that you select is a legendary pet. Now previously getting to tormented demons was a hassle, and you had to actually get a max portal to get there quickly, or you'd have to take a long way around by using your games necklace to teleport to Tears of Guthix and then going the long route. But recently they've added a new teleport to the 6th age circuit, which teleports you straight to the dungeon, so if you want to do TDs, this will save you a lot of time. Next up, with the recent addition of Wilderness Slayer, Mandarith has been added to the Slayer bank. He is the Wilderness Slayer Master. Now the great thing about this is that there is a separate teleport option to him on the Slayer Cape, option number 9. So this could be pretty damn useful if you're doing your Abyss runs. Now previously you would use your Wilderness Sword to teleport to Edgeville to use the bank, but now you can save a few seconds every run by using your Slayer Cape and teleporting straight to Mandarith, which is literally a couple of squares away from the banker. Doing this may add a couple of trips per hour, increasing your profit, so hopefully it helps you out. My final tip this time round is to maximize your player-owned ports. You can set up your player-owned ports to be a bone farming machine, which is incredible for GP if you don't like to PVM, or if you do like to PVM, you get the superior versions of the Scrimshaw on a regular basis. And yeah, you can do this pretty easily, and there are some basic concepts to it, but I will leave my friend Evil Lucario to explain it all to you guys, because he's got a very good guide on how to do it, and I'd rather you get all the information that you need. so I've left his link in the description to check it out. Now that about wraps it up for this episode of Tips and Tricks, guys. I hope you learned something new. I really do go out of my way to try and find as much information as I can to make your lives easier. And if you have some nice information which you want me to share with the community, please do DM me on Discord or just drop it down in the comments. You guys are amazing. I'm blessed to have you. Have a wonderful week ahead. Have a wonderful month ahead. And hopefully the RNG is strong with you guys. Peace out, guys. To the outro. Na 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 na.